Welcome, one and all, to another exciting episode of Peace Talk. This is the Peace Dealer. We are 74 episodes in, which is awesome. Definitely grateful and glad. Shout out to those of you who eventually join us in the live chat. How you doing, Gia? And we have a very, very, very special guest today. Very honored to have her on. Abby, how are you doing?
I'm doing really, really well. I'm excited to be on here too. I've watched you live so many times and like seen you in person, but I've never like this is my first Google Hangout.
That's a really great honor. Thank you. I'm glad this could be your first one.
Mhm.
Where, I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I'm divergenized now, I guess.
Oh, nice. We popped the hangout cherry. So,
Yeah, popped it.
your background looks amazing. Where are you based in right now?
Right now I'm in Bozeman, Montana. And I don't know how well you can see it because I can't see myself on the screen, but we've got a really big storm that's back there and it's just gorgeous. It's cold here, like cold. You can tell I'm all like wrapped up.
And Montana is West Coast, I believe.
It's kind of west. It's like 3 states over. It goes
Okay.
Washington and then Idaho and and we're right up by Canada, like at the very top of the United States.
Uh-huh. Okay. That's
Yeah.
what's up. Yeah, I heard it's a really nice, not grassland, but a lot of farming out there, special farming. But yeah, I heard it's a really nice, spacious place. Does it rain a lot there, like in Washington?
No, it doesn't rain a lot. It is actually my most favorite place I've ever been because it's got that 4 seasons. Like there's really truly 4 seasons.
Oh, nice.
But we do get a lot of snow in the winter, and it's really cold in the winter. So that's a drawback. But I've been spending so much time in California too. So it doesn't like I can just pop out of here if it gets too cold.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember meeting you at the Leo King's event.
Yeah.
It was a really awesome. It's something about um his events that always have like activation or like evolution thing to it. I always feel like I'm getting to the next level whenever it's like a checkpoint whenever I go and network. So
Right.
it was really great meeting you. You definitely shocked and awed me with the knowledge that you had. I had just learned about human design, and I thought that that was like I thought there would be nothing huger than astrology, and then I learned about human design, and I thought that was like crazy. And then you introduced me to Galactic Code, and that just completely blew my mind even more. So I do hope to talk about that during this call. But
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, it changed my life learning about galactic code because I had gone through so much, man. I mean, I feel like I walked through the bowels of hell to find this stuff because there's something about when you're going through a lot of turmoil, you search. And I found out about numerology first. And it was like, I would call it almost like a download. Like when I started learning about it, it was just like this immense amount of um, it was wisdom just started like flooding in. It's not anything new. It was just like that akashic knowing, I guess. And then the galactic code came into my awareness. And when I learned about that, it made everything in my life that I had gone through make sense.
Mm,
Because it's like when you go through stuff, sometimes you think that you're either being punished, you think that you've done something wrong. You don't understand why all of this heaviness is hitting you, and there's something about knowing that you're encoded to awaken to something different, and that all of that weight is just there to make you try to bust out, of that cocoon or that shell that you're in. then it makes it okay that all of those other things happened. And you can actually get some comfort out of it. So that's what I've appreciated knowing about the, like the galactic code of numerology. I don't know a lot about astrology.
So as far as the galactic code is different than astrology. Then it doesn't really. It's independent rather. It doesn't. You don't need to know astrology to know galactic code.
No, it's more the way that I would say is that astrology was based more on like where the sun and the earth is in comparison to all the other planets. That's the way that I view it, without knowing a lot about astrology. But galactic code is more about where the sun is in relation to Sirius. And so it's more that
Oh,
Syrian communication than it is the our own little universe communication. It's a big galactic picture. It's where all the galaxies are sitting. So
okay.
um, that's why it's a little bit bigger to me, like a little bit more encompassing,
Yeah.
maybe. I think
Def-
that all the modalities together, if you can combine all of them, that's where you can get like a really true picture.
yeah.
Mm.
I do
That's
believe that.
that's why I had gone out to like to see David at that event that we met because I was just really curious and wanted to learn more about the astrological side of things. See how it compared.
Nice. Yeah.
And it
I. Oh, go ahead.
no, it doesn't what I found is that it doesn't compare, it just enhances. Like it adds one more dimension to the map.
That makes
That's
sense.
how it feels.
You're saying astrology enhances galactic code.
Yeah, because
Okay,
it
cool.
gets into the nitty-gritty. It's like galactic code is like this giant picture, and then it's like the astrology kind of zooms into the picture of the earth and our little planetary system. And then to me numerology just hones in then on the human aspects as well. Like it for me, when I look at galactic code and numerology combined, I can usually see instantly a spot where somebody's got hold back in their life.
Mhm.
And it's just that abundantly clear without having to pull up charts and um, like see exactly what degree everything's at. For some reason, the combination of those two just takes you straight to the center, of whatever it is that's going to hold you back in life. But then what's on the other side of that is what you're really encoded to do in life too.
Yeah, there's something about my North Node is an Aquarius, so everything about that just like resonated with me so strongly, more than I expected, which is
When I
a
well, when I did your galactic code, like you gave me your birthday just right before, we got on here.
mhm.
And it's like I'll just show you. I don't know, maybe the the camera is going to like switch the numbers around, but that's how the map ends up looking for you.
Mm,
And you can see there's pinnacle points of numbers. And at the center of you, like if I look at your galactic code and then look at your numerology with it too, it's like you're basically like this person that goes around planting seeds of thought for humans to be able to have a more comfortable experience on earth. And it's through your sense of vision that you can do that. But the problem with it is when you've got all those wizard aspects, is like you can either go dark or you can go light. And so
oh
it's about
wow.
and that's awesome because, like, if you look at the universe, it's 70%, what is it, 76% dark matter. And that is the only way that we see the stars. And so for a human being to embody that, and to possess that, um, that the dark and the light, it means that you can illuminate more. Like when you really put your best foot forward, you're going to see seeds of thought and you're going to be able to plant those seeds of thought with your communication skills in a very powerful way. And the thing that gets you every single time, the thing that holds you back. You've got a double Achilles heel of this because your soul is what's considered a master number, is self-doubt.
No way. Oh, wow.
Yeah, self-doubt. It's the only when you carry that much magic, when you've got that much wizardry in your own body, you have to be given an equal Achilles heel.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people that are on this planet right now that are feeling like extreme, like anxieties and, like discombobulation or feel like they're going absolutely crazy. I think a lot of these people are encoded with that ability to communicate and transmute the energy that's coming through to them, because they're walking around these beings that are basically like a filtration system of frequency that they're having to transmute into a voice to be able to communicate. And a lot of people, what they'll do instead of communicate that voice is they try to shut that voice up that's coming into their head.
Oh, yeah.
They feel like they're going batshit crazy,
Yeah.
or they feel like they don't know which direction to go in life, or they don't realize that it's just about like stopping and just being exactly what we're encoded to be, like allowing it to happen,
Yeah.
instead of fighting it.
That's very true. Random question. Nikki had asked, do you do any singing because you have a singer's voice?
Oh, that's awesome.
Or were
No,
you ever singing?
no, I don't sing. I really should try. I always used to feel like a I'm hard on myself because I have that one, I've got the one in my number two. So
Mhm.
it's like I was shy, like really super shy. And so every time a microphone would get in front of me, I couldn't even let like a voice out because I'd be shaking so hard that I couldn't make noise.
Mhm.
I think having this podcast has really helped me to own my own voice a little bit more.
Okay.
But thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, no, I was wondering the same because your voice is amazing. I will say that.
Hmm.
And
I feel like I communicate frequency more than I communicate words.
mm,
Sometimes I feel like it's like I could tell somebody about a pink elephant that went and got in a taxi. And there's something about like just the communication of the softness, they would be able to feel comfort out of that
mhm,
story, even if it was just words. And that's when I kind of realized that it's more about um like probably one of my own superpowers is being able to be a voice of comfort, and calm people when they're really upset.
nice. And I'm going to pull up your chart right now, but for those who are curious, what are your sun, moon, and rising?
My sun is Taurus and my rising is Capricorn and my moon is Virgo.
Virgo moon. So,
Virgo
okay.
moon.
And yeah, okay, let's see. So, as you can see, your Capricorn moon is 20 degrees. So, you have an eighth house moon in Virgo, which is really awesome. Um, I definitely like to start there because you also have it on Pluto and you have Neptune opposite your sun. So this really indicates right off the bat, like supreme psychic ability, specifically between like taking your physical body and literally feeling out the emotional vibes through it. So it's like your body's an antenna. But how do you feel about your eighth house moon? Because that's never really an easy aspect always.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, true, true, true. Okay.
I
So yeah, my apologies. I know you mentioned it a bit when you were saying you used to be shy and everything. It's common with water house and eighth and earth energy, just because of well, the Virgo moon will bring a perfectionist quality to anything you would feel about what you do. But yeah, that's a really amazing aspect. Personally, I actually know someone with the Cap rising and the Virgo moon, which as an Aquarius sun. So it's I can definitely vouch for the psychic gifts, but as an eighth house moon myself, it just allows us to like feel directly into what people really want or what their true motives are.
Yeah.
And would you say you can contact the spiritual realm or spirits?
Yeah. I feel like I'm very much connected to heavens above, and that I can like pull that through down into my earthly body.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what like this last 18-year cycle has been for me. You know, because I'm older, you know, I'm 51, and I feel like the majority of my life was chaos.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm not kidding you. Like, I have been through some shit. And I feel like all of that did is make me really in tune to what's really important. You know, to realize that it is about what's happening like at a bigger galactic level, and then pulling that information through to show that we're basically like on a tipping point, you know, for humanity.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like I don't know what the astrology shows in that. I mean, I do feel like I feel like I see people for who they are at a soul level.
Yeah.
You know, I see they're exactly what they're capable of, and I'm always disillusioned. You know, it's like because I'll idealize people and I'll see them for that amazingness, and then I get disappointed when I see the human aspects that come out that just like basically trap them. And I
Yeah.
feel like I give people a lot of leeway. You know, like it's like I give them so much rope, and then they
You're
usually hang themselves with it, you know?
Yeah, it's really I'm really impressed or interested in your giant planets because it's such a rare configuration to have like Neptune and Scorpio is very supremely psychic. So like
Hmm.
there's something about Neptune that always brings this unconditional element of seeing the best in people because it's like opposite your Taurus, you can like see to the depth like someone's divine self,
Mhm.
but it also, I mean, that's also going to have you discern psychology through people's body language. And then
Mhm.
your eighth house moon on Pluto is already like so attuned to the small details. It's a very psychological energy. I know there's a lot that you may not say you know when you are aware, which is awesome. But
Mhm.
I think that you being a Capricorn rising also Pluto is so close to coming over your first house, and Jupiter will follow too. So it'll be interesting to see how this transformation process moves forward by 2020. But the people in the live chat, they're very surprised that you said you're 51. They thought you were in your 20s. They feel
Oh,
they
whatever. Seriously?
Yeah. There are about
Oh,
two people who said they thought you were 25 you're
wow.
or that you looked
I
amazing in really young.
I I went through a really interesting thing in 2014, and I don't know what my chart shows about that, but I used to have really long brown hair, and I had to dye it like every 2 weeks because my hair was this gray. And so it was in July of 2014. I was so sick of dyeing my hair all the time that I shaved my head. And I cannot even tell you how liberating and how life altering that was, because for women, and I don't know if it's true for men too, but it's like for women, hair is like the antenna,
Yeah.
and it blocks out everything. And so it's like when you don't have any hair, all of a sudden these rushes of information start coming through.
Oh, that
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
and I heard that, and I don't know if this is true or not, but they said that or when I started investigating it, that yogis, that's one of the reasons that they would shave their heads, is because the energy that could come through at that point was, wasn't diluted.
Mm.
It was very potent. And right about that same time, I'd gone through like a really terrible divorce and separation. And, you know, um, I left my business. My youngest son had graduated. Like
Mm.
everything happened all at once. And I ended up living up on the side of this mountain for literally I ended up staying there for it was 3 years. For 4.5 months. I didn't see anybody else. It was just like this very
Nice.
introspective time of down, just like tapping into who I was as an individual.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen from all of that. Like I don't know what you would call it. It was time that I took out for me, independent of the whole entire world, just to get in touch with what is going on, like on this planet. What am I doing here? What is humanity doing here? And I tell you what, this last 4 years has been like, well, not four, the last 9 years has been hugely transformational. And now I feel like it's time to basically like step back out into the world, because it's like I've been completely secluded, like really secluded. I got to tell you something, Michael.
You and me both.
Here,
And
I've been,
well, yes, I've been willingly secluding myself, but now that
mm,
I'm ready to like come back out, I feel
yeah.
it's time for me to like share myself again. But I think it's fascinating that this happened July 2014 because you were going through your Jupiter return there. Jupiter was
Oh,
in Cancer, the North Node was in Libra, so very interesting and very revealing. I've learned from that just now. So thank you.
wow. Because oh man, that was a powerful time.
Yeah.
I mean, I quit. At that point, I basically quit giving away my power to anybody else in the world. I went completely inward. And when you're on a mountain, there's something about when I've got that much earth in my chart, there
Yeah.
was something where it was just like that deep grounding, where I could just sit there and be planted and then have all of that heavenly, whatever that is, that etheric spiritual vibe, was in my whole house. And I got to just like incubate in that for a really long period of time. It was very special. And it's been really interesting to leave it, like to leave that spot
Yeah.
and then to go back out into the world. While I was there on that mountain, that's when I found David Palmer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I found a lot of other people on YouTube, and I just started watching people. Like I really paid close attention to what they were doing. And what happened to me is I started seeing all of this it was like potentiality for things like YouTube and Facebook and all these modalities that people were using to get a message out. It felt like they were going to disappear. It felt like we weren't going to have that avenue, to be able to get messages out anymore. And at that point in time, I wanted to create an app or do something. I wanted to create like my own type of internet is what I really wanted, because it's like a spiritual message does need to get out. And
Yeah.
how are we going to get this message out to masses of people when everything really started to hit the fan, in a couple years from now? That's the way that it felt. And so I had actually reached out to David at that point in time, and I asked him if he would be interested in starting a business together. And he
Oh,
and he didn't ever respond to my message. And literally 3 years went by, and at that event that you and I met in November, David, he went to send me my chart. And when he pulled out my email address, he saw the email that I had sent him you know, years before. And I said, you know what, David, you made this probably isn't even relevant anymore. Like I need to reread it and see what I sent you. And a couple days later, he sent me a message and he was like, if you're still interested in doing this, I absolutely want to do it. And so we formed the company together, and that's how
High vibe.
High Vibe. Yeah, we
That's
started
amazing.
with 12th House Media, and then we started High Vibe because it's like we want the intent was to be able to use that space as a spiritual house at some point if all these other modalities did go down,
Mhm.
like you two, like you get on here and how many hundred people connect to you? It's thousands of people are connecting to your channel, but imagine if YouTube censored that out.
Yeah,
How would those people connect at that point?
that's very true.
And so that's why I wanted High Vibe or, like a app like that so that there was a house so that people knew that there was a place to go that wasn't controlled by censorship. Like the only thing that could knock that out is if the internet was completely knocked out, which that could happen too, But
Yeah,
it's like at least have a venue where information could be given out, So that's what I've been focusing on more now.
that's really awesome to know that you're a part of High Vibe as well. Because I had in a it's kind of like future life, but definitely a lot more focused on more authentic, spiritual and just personal knowledge and experiences, which is really awesome. High vibe. So
Yeah, I
um
didn't want it to be surrounding just astrology.
yeah,
It was like this is about the human experience. Like this is about the things that we're all going through. And, sometimes when you use communication terms that are, regarding the planets and the houses or, like the galactic code or the numbers, people can't communicate that language,
yeah,
but they can understand that shit is going down in their life. And what am I going to do today to make it through this health issue or this relationship issue or this, like someone just died in my family or, and they don't know where to go to get a positive message necessarily. And so what I wanted is a house that just had all of this content that I felt was genuine material. Because I was sifting through so many people that were it just didn't feel real. It felt more like the people that were able to market were getting their messages out. But all these people that had the real spiritual voices were kind of being held back.
yeah,
And so it's like I want it to be a place where truly connected people that have walked the walk can guide the people that are going through whatever it is that they're going through in their life. Because there's no reason to have to endure this journey. It's like we come here in these physical bodies. We're here, we're breathing. That's about the only thing that we really know is fact, is that we're taking a breath every minute.
yeah,
And we don't know why sometimes. And there's so many people right now that just would rather peace out because they don't know how to deal with whatever they're going through.
yeah,
But it's like when everybody can get on the same page that no, like I'm actually here to have this experience and I'm not going to just endure it. I'm going to actually enjoy it. I'm going to make this the best vacation that I can make it. It's like
mhm,
if you zoom out, if you were to zoom out even to the edge of our solar system and look back at planet Earth, it's like 4 billion miles away. All we would see is a little tiny blue dot.
yeah. If that,
We wouldn't see boundaries. We wouldn't see race. We wouldn't see religion.
true that.
But what we would see is that there's no other humans in that whole area around it. So it's like, what are we doing on this planet? It's like this is one of the coolest galactic landing strips that there is. We've
It's a
got
vacation planet, huh?
we have got this is like going to Disneyland. If you were coming to the United States, you would go to Disneyland, or if you were going to Paris, you would want to see the Eiffel Tower. But it's like if you're in this galaxy, planet Earth is the freaking bomb. It's the place to come to have all of this soul growth. And
Yeah.
it took us a lot to get here. And so it's like now that we're here, why is the only thing that we want to do to get out of here?
And that's such a great that's such great wisdom that you just said right now. It's clicked gear. It's something about of course, when you get out of that fear of, oh, is this the only life? Is there an afterlife? Is my life done after this? It helps you remember that, you know, this is a training space to go on to the next karma and to learn from your last life. And I love how you said you shouldn't rush to get out of here too, you know. Could take a lot of our times.
You know, for a long time, like in my earlier years, had a business. My ex-husband and I had started it back in like 1998, and we manufactured production equipment for the oil field. And he ended up inventing this equipment that got rid of all the emissions from that process. And so we had massive business, made tons of money, met incredible people, you know, that had all made money. And like, and I'm talking like the majority of the people that I was hanging out with made over $500 million a year or more, or they were
Wow.
billionaires. And when I would go into these meetings, these people were, you say I can read bodies, right?
Yeah.
What I would
Yeah.
see is that they were freaking miserable. It
Wow.
was like they had achieved everything that the human would think was the, you know, the ultimate. You know, like they'd have 26 cars and the majority of them were Ferraris, or they would have these, I mean, like huge yachts and beautiful women, and you know, like all the things that humanity thinks is it.
Mm.
And I would bet that over 90% of them were freaking miserable. And I started doing this thing, like I started doing their numerology and their galactic code when we would be like in mastermind meetings. And I started seeing that humanity, we get stuck, you know, in thinking that it's all these things outside of ourselves
Yeah.
rather than building up our own bodies so that we can actually bring like that heaven to this earth, to this planet through our physical body. And that was it.
Yep.
That's where the true joy and the true um like the meaning of life was going to come in and feel fulfilled. And so for me, that at that point, that's where things took this giant shift into, you know, aligning with what is the human experience really all about. Because I
Mm.
saw it wasn't making money. I saw it wasn't having the perfect boyfriend or girlfriend, because they never appreciated it when they got it,
That's,
you know.
oh, wow.
But it is about aligning with you know, and your own intention, your own knowing of who you are, you know, and what are you doing in this physical body right now? And are you actually taking advantage of it? Or are you, you know, on drugs 90% of the time so that you don't feel the capability of enjoying fully who you are, like numbing it out
Yeah.
instead of experiencing it.
Which is fascinating to think of, because I mean, it's by now many people are used to the concept of people having a lot of money and still not being happy. But I just would not assume that for people who have actually worked hard to get it and like achieved stuff and had it all, like Yeah, I'm still that dude who'll be like, give me a few $1,000,000. I'll be happy with it. But
You
it's
know what
really,
happened? They get it, but it's never enough because
oh,
your expectation grows with your bank account.
yeah,
And I bet you can look back at a time in your life where, maybe you only had 10 bucks in your pocket and you only wanted 20. But then when you had 20, you only wanted 40.
yeah.
And then when you get 100, you wish you had 1,000. Like it's never enough.
Wow.
It's never enough. And those people, you know what their number one question is? What is my purpose?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And what
That's
is
interesting.
and what is going to make me happy?
Mhm.
What is true happiness? And you know what they have as the thing that holds them back the most? These guys that are way up here is self-doubt because they still don't feel they feel like they've messed up something. Like maybe they had the college degree,
Yeah.
but they never did what they really wanted to do.
Mhm.
Maybe they had made all the money, but they were like, who do I share my life with? Because I worked my whole life making money and now I don't have my family because I was a workaholic.
Wow.
Or I had an affair and I threw away my perfectly incredible wife for the illusion of thinking that it was greener on the other side.
That hurts.
So I think that it's interesting as human, looking at that human aspect to know that we create our reality, and we create no matter where we're at. My mom used to say, even if you had like the tiniest little house, you could at least keep it clean,
Yeah.
or you could at least have pride in who you are. And it's like if you view your own physical body, if we don't appreciate it and take care of it like as the house that we're here on this planet to be living in, that's the number one thing where appreciation goes a long way. Because it's like without that, without our physical self, we're not here. So it doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't it's like I used to do this thing. It was I used to call it being able to return to your own source energy. So I would like hold energy over the physical body so that they could actually leave and go wherever their source energy was. So they could tap into what they were really doing. And the stories that each galactic code comes back with a different story. And the story that I heard that I loved the most was from the star-seeded people. And they said that there was basically like how there's people that want to like sit there and flip through Facebook all day or Instagram, but they said that what was happening is all of that information was going up like this channel and it was all being distilled into one little dot, and then there was like this lineup of souls, and it was a hard thing to get into this lineup of souls. And it didn't matter if they knew they were going to have a wheelchair. It didn't matter if they knew they were not going to have arms or legs. It didn't matter. It was a soul that was going to get to come to earth. And in that
Oh,
lineup,
wow.
they would get that little distilled information and then pop back down to earth in a human body. Basically, that's what was going to happen. And it made me see that appreciation for that human shell. It's like we can get so frustrated because we don't like the fat on our skin, or we've got cellulite, or we've got the wrong color of skin, or we've got, maybe we wanted to have beautiful teeth and we don't have teeth, or whatever it is. But it was like all of a sudden to know that to have that perspective change and be like, no, I mean, we actually got a chance to be here right now to watch the events
Mhm.
that are happening on this earth. Like, we're actually at a point in time that we've never seen that it's all a big mystery, right? Like, what is going to happen? Like, we can't even really predict what's going to happen because it's based on the decisions that the collective makes at this point. So it's like the less focus that we put on how much money we're going to make and how we're going to have the perfect body or how we're going to have the perfect house or whatever, and the more attention that we put on building up our own interior self and our own energy system and our own acknowledgement of our soul, then that's the thing that's actually going to bring the true tipping points.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
that's why I think that what you do is so important, because like you are giving these messages of hope to people every single time that you get online. And people depend on that. And there might be people that tear it down, because if they can tear you down, imagine the feather in the cap of that darker energy
Yeah.
to disappoint somebody enough that they don't want to show up.
Yeah. Wow. That's so profound. It does feel like that too. I've been seeing it happen to a lot of people who do this, just
Mhm.
wave after wave of negativity, and that's one thing, but like canceled events and like stuff not working out just to get at us so that we get discouraged. And it's just as you said, like there's too much work to quit now because can't let those dark forces get ahead.
No, and it's like you say, like there's a warfare that is going on that we don't understand. And a lot of
Yeah.
times the thoughts that we have, it's like for those people that are really super empathic, it's not even, your own thoughts a lot of the time, but it's like if you can pay attention to that and catch it
Mhm.
and then transmute it, because it's the people that are are capable and encoded of transmuting that stuff that are getting those messages.
Mhm.
And that's why those are the people that can't give up, because they are the ones, they were that wave of energy that was coming in here to make a change and to make a difference. So it's like the more of us that can get tapped into that and like stand up really tall on our own 2 feet and just be like, no, I am not succumbing to that. And I am standing up, and I am not gonna, dull my senses or numb out to anything anymore, but I'm gonna be so flipping aware. The more of us that do that, then that energetic frequency that flows out of our body connects with everybody else that's doing that. And when you band that type of a grid network together, there's no busting through it. And then we can actually like elevate in our own energy, like in our own it's almost like if you could visualize that the earth is like covered with these little parasites of humans, but it's like the ones that are holding that energy so tight are the ones that can transmute all that other energy into something it's more magical, it's
Mhm.
more potent, and it's high frequency.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it definitely encourages greater grounding too, especially in who you are, why you're here, definitely tapping into one's purpose, which is of something convenient that, negative people, dark forces, our own doubt, we sometimes forget, and it gets us off path. And then before you know it, we're entertaining distractions. So yeah, I've definitely felt that. I've definitely felt that collective wave of this intense energy kind of breaking certain people down and others breaking through the struggle. But it's interesting that I've almost felt personally this time spent not really being defeated, but like facing my insecurities or facing our insecurities, facing our darkness, kind of getting knocked down, was almost very necessary, at least just to like show us, wow, this is as bad as it gets. Like this is way where this is not as bad as I feared it would be. This rejection, this alienation. In some cases, it almost feels very peaceful. So it's in that sense, kind of am grateful for this intense, harsh energy because it's definitely showing how strong we are.
Yes.
Sure. So yeah, for those who are unaware, you do run a podcast, and I do have the links to the description below. How did you start the podcast, and how did you start on your journey?
The podcast started because a friend of mine, she had started Hay House Radio, and she was friends with another lady who knew me, and my friend recommended to her that I be on the show, or that I be a host on the station. And so she reached out, and I took the opportunity to do it. And I tell you what, the reason I said yes is because I felt like saying no because I was scared to death. And it's those times where it's like, no, you need to say yes to this because this is getting your voice. I've had so many like thyroid issues, and I think that a lot of that was because I bit my tongue a lot and I didn't say what I needed to be saying. And I think that that's something for everybody that's listening to be aware of too, because our body is our strongest communicator to us of what we need to do next. So whatever health issues that are popping up, or maybe people are feeling really super sleepy right now, it's like we have to honor those things because that's when our body it's communicating to us. But that's how I started the radio show, and that was back in April. And it's helped me get over my stage fright a little bit. A little bit, I'll say. It's like every time before I would go live on a video or something, it's like, I don't know if you get this. Do you get like a rush of fear go through you, or is it really easy for you to turn on a video?
Maybe when I started, when I had started, I had already done a little bit of stage performance for like open mic. So going live on YouTube is really fun. If I was to perform live on stage or to do public speaking, I will feel a little nervousness, like a bit of fear. And then I just kind of psych myself up.
Well, the radio shows, what I've tried to do lately, because they're 56 minutes long, which that's a lot of time, to fill on a topic, just on your own. So I opened it up to like live callers, and that really makes it fun for me. Like if people do call in, it completely changes my vibe of being able to talk. And the other thing I did is I stopped trying to like come up with the topics far in advance. Just going more with like the energy that I felt for the day. So that it's not planned. It is what it is in the moment. That's really helped. And as far as like next moves, man, I've got to figure out exactly how that's going to look, but I know that it's got to be more interview based, and I want to do a lot more from the studio, the High Vibe studio. Because we have that beautiful space now to, and all the sets to be able to bring people in, and I want to do more. Like we've got a stage there with 100 seats. I mean, we could put up to 400 seats in it, but I want to do a lot more live streaming of events. So like say if somebody like you were to go in and be on the stage, and maybe your top 100 fans come in and they're actually able to meet you and have like in-person readings, but it's where you can do these hangouts on the air, where everybody can tap into the live stream and see what's happening, just so that you can have hangouts is probably like an older word for it, but it's like
meetups.
It's like an after hours type of a vibe where people can go to collect, to mentally at least have that community, of people pulling together to get through this stuff.
Cat's out the bag now, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I had mentioned that we were going to do a meetup at the end of the month, and honestly, it's crazy because on the surface, events got canceled, but Spirit always has our back. Spirit always has a way through. I had made a announcement to meet up at the end of the month, and that ended up turning into Sacred Valley. Like I had no idea we were gonna be able to connect there. I was like, wow, this is perfect. Like I wanted to do a meetup. Sacred Valley is a great opportunity. That ended up getting canceled. But then what I ended up finding was a place where we can do hangouts and meetups, and that venue is beautiful. So for those of you who are just now hearing, I found a place. We have a place where we can meet up every month and really connect. That's really what I'm going to be focused on too. So I'm really glad you mentioned it because it's very exciting. It's a really nice place. It's spacious. It does have a stage. It'll be a genius to live stream, and this is an opportunity for the tribe to come together and like to group up. So I'm nothing but excited.
Did you see it at night? Like with all the
Yes,
lights on? And it's
yes.
just like it is the most perfect spot. And as we make some more money, because I'm not kidding you, Michael, I should be calling you the peace dealer here.
I like Michael.
What happened with me is that I made all this money, like shit tons of money. And then I ended up getting in the biggest Ponzi scheme in Utah history. Like all my money is gone. I've been fighting this with the SEC. This SEC has been involved in it for literally years, and there's not anything else that's left to recover from it. So
Wow.
I took my last money. I'm not kidding you. It was my last money and put it into that buying the cameras,
Wow.
renting out, paying to rent out
Yeah.
that space. And so it's like I honestly don't know how it's going to end up being monetized. I do know
Yeah.
that somehow the universe, if that's what you want to call it, I know that I'm being supported in bringing something like that together. So how it unfolds, I don't know. But what I do know is that as we get more resources, all I'm going to do is just pour that back in there as much as we can
Likewise.
to create like this bomb place that we can record from, that is the highest frequency that we can possibly emit, because it's like that ripple effect. It's like when you send out that vibe, it doesn't just stop at the clouds.
Yeah, that's
Like
very
this
true.
is like going on and on and on and on. And that's why it's so important to create any venue that you can to raise your frequency and to, like to actually pump that out so that we're doing our part universally. That's the way that
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, like in the spiritual warfare, or however you want to look at it.
No, I have a lot of respect for you for even admitting that because a lot of people would lose a lot of that money and let that affect them how they see themselves, and that clearly didn't stop you. That's truly amazing. That's very truly amazing.
I feel like that was my psychic attack.
Mhm.
Like for a Taurus to lose
Yeah,
all their little bank account and all their little things that make them feel so secure. And it's not like, I have I have recuperated. Like, wow, this is what I learned. I didn't need it. And the
wow.
second that I lost the attachment, like when you lose the earthly attachment to the things, then the things start coming back. That's one
Okay.
thing I'm noticing. It's like all you have to do is get the lesson of it, and then everything else just works out.
Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of people are facing financial stuff right now too. I don't know if you see that in your, like with your friends and stuff, but it's like how am I going to pay my rent next month, or how am I going to, you know, make my car payment, or put my kids through school, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's like the second that it's not about that, you get that.
And it's so true. It's crazy how attention and focus works like that too. Like the mind, I can speak from personal experience. The moment, I mean, even now, I don't really worry about where the money's going to come from. while I on my own end budget right, and I can on my own end budget right and work hard, but I never really have to worry. It's provided for. It's kind of like how a child doesn't have to worry about what their parent, the average parent, is going to provide for them. They can just go about their day. It's amazing how the universe works in the same way, and how our own stress and doubt can kind of block that unknowingly because we feed in that energy.
Well,
So,
and that doubt is the only thing that blocks.
wow. So, I mean, that's how much power we really have.
Yeah.
Truly amazing.
The doubt, like every time, and this goes for anybody, anytime you see the doubt, be like, ah, like that's the trickster.
Ah,
Right there is
yes.
the trickster, and it's not going to trick you. It's like, no, know with certainty that if you've got a human body, you're encoded to be here. If you're encoded to be here, then you're okay. Like it's that simple.
Yeah,
You know, it's just not easy to remember that it's that simple.
true
If you're
that.
really encoded to be a messenger, you don't have to go to school to be a messenger. You're encoded.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
that's so true.
if you're in,
Um,
if you're encoded to be a person that kicks into gear when shit hits the fan, then you're encoded for it, and all that anxiety is just in there to like be there for the times that you have to kick into gear.
yep.
So it's just like let us settle on through, like it's okay. You know, and that helps us to feel a little bit more comfortable in our flesh. It helps us to settle in and know that, wow, like it's I'm not ever gonna not take advantage of another minute here.
Yeah, yeah, that too. It can be really easy to lose sight.
Well, it's
Um,
you can tell by your vacation style, you know, because it's like if you go on vacation and you like to get out and do a bunch of stuff, or if you get to your vacation spot and you wait till the day before you leave, and then it's like, oh shit, you know, I wanted to do this, this, and this. So it's like
yeah,
if you can visualize that whether you want to be on this planet right now or not, if you're thinking that you're at your wits end and you don't want to be here anymore, then it's like, what are you going to do for the next few days to actually at least get to enjoy this planet while you are on your own 2 feet
mhm,
in human flesh? What would you do to enjoy just the next few weeks or months? Like take advantage of it.
yeah,
And when you can let that kind of joy come through your body and that reality kind of settles in, then it makes you really happy you're here.
amen to that. Amen to that. I agree with what someone said in the live chat earlier, that they would really enjoy if you made meditation videos and that your voice is ASMR quality.
Oh, that's
You-
awesome. I have some meditations over on my website.
oh,
A
beautiful,
like
beautiful.
yeah, it's on at abbymoneyhun.com. There's some free meditations there. Just to
Great.
like there's one that just helps you breathe.
Okay.
Like just to center. Like, you know, like just to release the anxiety. You know, like to let everything it, to see where we're creating our own hell.
Yeah, true that. All right. Well, this let's play the three questions game. We take turns asking each other questions. You could start, you could ask me one, and then I'll answer and I'll ask you, and then we'll just go two more rounds.
Okay. When is the last time you cried?
Oh no.
Do you get to plead the fifth on any of the questions?
Damn. Yeah, you can. But oh damn. This is such a good question. Um, I've gotten so good at like tricking myself to just not cry and like completely suppress my feelings. So I know that's bad because you should let tears out and whatnot. But oh my God, when was the last? Okay, so I have cried. There's a part of my feelings that get really offended with me because like if I ever cry, the last time I ever cried, it was like I can't even remember, but the last few times I cried, it was because I saw something on like an anime, or it was like I cried of happiness, and there's a part of me that's like you won't cry for real things, but you'll cry for trivial like stuff that doesn't even really matter almost because I've cried before out of happiness because like I had leftover food in the fridge, but it was more like in a joking way. But if you mean like cried, like I honestly cannot remember. I've had like a tear come through, but the last few times I cried is because I like empathized with how someone else would feel, and it like I like as a projector took in that energy. But I honestly, I'm totally not trying to like to act tough or silly, but like I don't remember the last time
Uh,
I ever.
is anybody on the chat saying that they've cried recently?
Yes, someone said they cried 2 days. Heidi said she cried today. LGJD said before the show, unless they're talking about me. But yeah, Scannon said she was wailing today.
If anybody's cried, put in there, like be sure to put in there when's the last time you cried. And then I got a trick for you.
Nice. So people are saying today, last night, this morning. Oh, apparently I cried on the live chat once. Oh yeah. I remember I did choke up this one time, I think last year when I was talking about how I have a sense of like unity here. Yeah. I would count that as crying. I didn't choke up though, but
I think the next time anybody cries, what they should try is just reach up and touch it and taste the tear.
oh, that's genius.
And just be so grateful that you can actually taste a tear or touch a tear. Because it's like without a physical body, you would never get that experience. Just really honor whatever it is that's making you tear up because it's such a beautiful thing that we have emotion.
Yeah.
It's good to have emotion. It's good to honor it.
That's a genius idea too. I didn't even, yeah, I'll totally do
You're gonna
that.
go have yourself a good cry now. I'll tell you a real sad story. And
No, I have this twisted sense of humor. So like I will always find a funny slant to it. So instead of like getting sad, I just laugh. And I've done it so much that it's habitual, and now like it's so hard to like. It's like I have to like really. I don't know. It is what it is. More people do need to cry, like Kelly just said. But my question for you is, what is your favorite energy to connect to? Whether it's like a planetary energy, a etheric energy, a figurative deity, or maybe an actual person.
On the Galactic Code, my favorite energy is the serpents because it's that Kundalini energy.
Oh, yes.
Where it's like the balance, is that what you're meaning? Where it's like the balance of that male and female energy.
Yeah.
And there is something about that jolt or that vibration that just, ooh, like it makes me think I have a gizzard,
Oh, so you felt it rise before?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, like I can get
Nice.
around certain people and give them a hug, and it's like that wiggle that happens inside, that vibration is like, I love that energy. Love it.
Nice.
In astrology, I find that energy a lot with cancers. It's
Yeah.
like for me, it's like that water lights up like the little rivers in this little earth's in this little earth body right here.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm fascinated with the Kundalini energy too. I feel
Oh,
like I'm forcing it to raise, but I think it's a natural process.
don't ever try to force it.
Okay.
I'll tell you this, if you force it and you haven't worked through your other emotions, what it's like is pouring fertilizer on whatever emotion it is, and it can cause some serious, serious repercussions from it.
Oh wow.
You know what? We were gonna talk about onking sexual energy too at one
Oh,
point.
nice.
Should we talk about that or do we have time?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's totally talk
Um,
about
um, it's so important to pay attention to sexual energy because it's our creativity.
that. Yeah.
It is like it's birth. It's how we were born,
Yeah.
right? So it's birth. And it's also our money because that's that chakra that is activated. So a lot of people, they feel like maybe they're sex addicts or something, and they have all this sexual energy, but they just have the orgasm and they let it out, and then they have to get the sexual energy again.
Yeah.
And that's why they have to go for it and go for it and go for it instead of being able to actually use it. So
Hmm.
so when you have an orgasm, whether it's with somebody else or whether it's just like you touching yourself, whatever it is, it's like you visualize that. You know what the Ankh shape is?
Yes.
It's like in each. Oh, let me draw it out really quick on my little
Gotcha.
fancy paper. It looks kind of like that. Can you see that?
Like Venus a little bit.
Yeah. It
Yes.
comes up in a circle.
Yeah.
So what you visualize is that Ankh is sideways in your body. And so you take that sexual energy and you push it up another level and you just take little breaths. And it may really mess with your orgasm, like an actual orgasm, but what you're going to do is push that energy up. And then by just taking like half breaths, you keep on stimulating yourself or whatever to build the energy. And then when it gets right about to your heart chakra, you have it, you breathe in like at 90%. And when you take that breath in, what it does is it creates a loop and it goes around down your back.
Mm.
Then it goes back down into around your root chakra. And
Oh,
then
okay.
once it gets that stream, it's like you've woken up like a river inside your body where that energy can just sit there and swirl. And that way you get the energy of your own sacral energy instead of losing it.
So you can activate this by stimulating yourself, but not actually eject or not actually orgasming, but just
Yeah,
getting
you can
yourself to the.
actually like when you push it up to that level, you can still have the orgasm, but what you're doing is like if you really want the power of it, you don't ejaculate and you just keep on pushing up the energy inside your body.
So you can
So
actually
you
push it up.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, you can push it up and you can loop it and you can get it to the point where it's like opening up that entire wand inside your body, but that's where you can also like bust open your kundalini. So it's like
Nice.
it's better to get it to loop right there at the heart chakra because that way it's stimulating, it's connecting your heart, it's allowing it to open and see what's right in between your personal power and your sacral energy, or right in between your heart and your sacral is your heart. I'm sorry, your personal power, your power.
Mm,
That's what you're activating is your power. And that's what
mm.
most people on the planet need
Wow.
help with. They feel guilty for their sexual behavior,
Yeah.
and so then they suppress it and they keep it all down here
Yeah.
rather than looping it in that onking
An
S
ejaculation,
shape.
like someone just
Yeah.
said. Nice. So you can release, or even if you don't release, because that's really interesting. I've definitely heard that technique before too. I've practiced it, but I haven't really practiced. I haven't heard it like onking, which
If we don't hear from you for a while, we'll know that you're just over there onking.
I definitely, I definitely will. That's for sure.
We got us an onker.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a different relationship to sexual energy that's much needed, and
Yeah.
just timely too with Jupiter and Scorpio and all that. So very, very great, very great. That's awesome.
That kind of got off the 3 questions, but I think it's important for people to know, especially right now.
I need to know that for sure. So thank you.
Like energize that personal power. That's the trick.
Yeah, no longer give it away.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right. So I know we are on what, the second round of question.
Do we still have time? Okay, let me see the best question I could think of. You're a Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
How many of your memories do you think are real?
Oh my God. That's a really good question. How many of my memories are like any memories?
Any memories? How many are real, or how many do you think are distorted by your own perception of what happened in the past?
Wow, that is such a good question. Because when I do think about stuff in the past, I'm very hard on myself. So I put on this like negative slant, like it might have been worse than it was. Especially when it comes to high school. Like I just feel like high school was such like a bad time for me until I really go back and I think of amazing things that happened in high school and like stuff in my childhood. I really want to go back in time and look at my past from a different perspective to see how it was. So I'm glad you asked that. As I would have just naturally thought that my memories were real, but I really, I really don't know anymore. I really think that's a great question, especially as a Gemini. We have this tendency to kind of remember things in different ways than you have it to. So, I mean, I'm really going to think about that personally. I think a, I, I want to think that a lot of my memories are true, but I don't think so anymore. I'm going to actually go back and make sure, because even if they were like, I think of it as factually true as the events of what happened. But as far as how I felt, as far as how I should feel, I think I've been unfair to myself too, and not necessarily allowed myself to um, kind of look at it as objectively as I can or as fair as I can. So that was a very fascinating question.
It's interesting to think about it too, because it's like, what would your future self think or remember about right now?
Oh, that's true.
You know, so
Yeah,
it's like you can kind of reframe everything.
definitely.
Mm.
That's very powerful. And yeah, last time I heard about reframing was learning about neurolinguistic programming and presupposition. So that definitely brings back memories. My second question to you is, what is one spiritual or paranormal or supernatural experience that has stuck with
Oh, that's a rabbit hole.
you?
Um, I honestly feel like my soul got kidnapped once.
Mm,
One of the weirdest things I've ever felt in my life, and it actually put me in fear because I didn't know how to get it back. And I think it's really important to remember, if you're doing like a lot of I don't know that I would necessarily call it Reiki, but like shamanistic work,
mm,
or that you have people work on you that are 100% pure intent,
yeah.
because there's some crazy things that can happen when you're messing around with opening portals. And you know I tell you what happened is, there was a shaman that was working on me, and he basically said he needed to bring back a shard of my soul. And so as he was doing that, what I could feel coming into me was not me. And I was like, stop, like, get it out, stop it now. And when he pulled it out, it's like my whole entire soul went with it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it took Like, I had to sit there and ground out and, like, call it back, and after that point in time, and it took me a long time to recover. I'm
When
not
was that?
kidding you. It was in 2014
Oh,
when I
that's
was
a long
going through
time.
all. Yep,
Okay.
and it took me, I would say, a good 6 months before I could feel like myself again.
Hmm.
There is some, like, there is some serious stuff that goes on, so honor it. If it
Yeah.
doesn't feel right, say no. If people are playing around with energies or, like Reiki energy or whatever,
Hmm.
make sure that you ground into the earth. Make sure that you are only dealing with your own source energy. Don't
Yeah.
depend on other people to be doing this stuff for you, but to assist you,
Assist,
you know.
yes. Because even as a professional or skilled as someone may be, they still might make mistakes or not know the end all be all. And even the whole notion of grounding to gain this energy back over 6 months is 100% accurate, being an eighth house Virgo moon. So
Really?
that's, yeah, because first of all, to even perceive it leaving with Pluto there, you're so intensely on a central level can feel like details that and the subatomic particles around you, which is really amazing. And being a Taurus helps stabilize what you feel so it's not all over the place. But yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing and interesting. It makes me take more seriously as well, like energetics a whole lot, which is
There's so
interesting.
many people that I think it's good to practice. I
Hmm.
think it's good to do, like, all these chakra cleanings and all this stuff, but it's like, um, inside your own body when something feels off. Every single person has that capability. I really believe that. And if there's anything in your own head that's saying no, don't do it.
Hmm.
Just don't mess around with it. Like, especially in these times. I mean, we can do so much more by grounding into our own energy, connecting to our own divine source, and tapping into that. And the more of us that are doing that, like individually, even if we're in a room, but we're concentrating on tapping into that instead of feeding off the energies in the room. It's like for myself, I know that that's something I am very, very aware of now. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm very aware. That's been my hugest learning in soul work.
that's amazing.
Is it my turn to ask you a question now?
Yes, we have one more round before we close.
Um, if you could only teach the world one concept in your lifetime, do you know what it would be?
That's wow, you're really great with the questions. Yeah,
Questions are the quest eye on. That's why
yeah.
we've got to ask ourselves really good questions. What's the quest eye on?
The quest
What's
I'm
one
on. Wow. That's amazing. That's a
What's the
great
one
question.
concept that you would love to make sure that this world had because of you?
Yeah, it's a lot of what I'm focusing on. Of the concept of, and I'm watching my words here. I was gonna say magic, but really the concept of non-corporeal, unseen beings that manifest in bad behaviors or demons or negative spirits. And that's not the right way to say it, but more so just the concept of like the spiritual or unseen realm, the eighth house, the 12th house, the fourth house. Because if once humanity masters that concept, then no one on earth will blame other people. No one on earth will look at other people as an enemy because they'll realize that the true source of negativity, darkness are literally spirits that use us to fight each other. And so everyone, like if people truly believed in demons, if people truly believed in like negative spirits, or even if we don't use abstract concepts, like when someone goes through an addiction, when someone goes through a negative habit, um, this culture is just so toxic. You have people on their high horse entitled saying, oh, there's something wrong with that person. No one prays for other. It's rare to find people who pray for someone else to actually, not make it about themselves and say, hey, I don't know you. What you're doing is annoying, but how can I help? You know what I mean? If we helped each other combat this and we saw for real the true source. It's just the way these dark forces work is you can't see them. People only see what they believe, and they use that to exploit the ignorance of other people. So that's really one of my main passions. Like, I want to be an exorcist. I want to be someone who goes to house cleanings and to prove somehow that there are other energies and entities. Yeah, there are real people who open themselves up willingly to maybe for power and fame to be vessel of this. But if people really knew better, they would do better. They would understand where things come from. There would be that much more compassion. And so that's really,
Yeah, it's being the king or the king of our own kingdom and the queen of our own queendom.
yeah. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I know I just said that, but I'm going to change my answer. Self mastery. That's really the concept. Because if you really have mastered yourself and your energy, then you would end up actually knowing what is your energy and what's not your energy. So one thing I really want to do is to help coach and guide people to be the greatest selves they could ever be. So the concept of just believing in yourself no matter what, even if you're the only one who does, which is all about mastery and self
It's
power.
so true because it's like when you just stand up in your own vindication, your own sovereignty, nothing else can have power over that.
Yeah,
Nothing.
so true.
That's an awesome concept. I like that answer a lot.
Thank you.
Self-mastery. That's gonna
Yeah.
stick. That's a very simple way to put it too.
So I'm working on it on my own. I feel like before I could help others, I gotta get it right for myself. And yeah,
Yeah.
definitely on that journey. And my last question for you is my favorite question I ask everyone. What are your three favorite zodiac signs and the three signs that give you the most challenge or energy?
Oh boy. The three favorites. I like I like cancers a lot, but they also seem to bite me in the butt the most. I feel like they're also my most challenging. That's really
Oh, nice.
interesting. Yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting because of the something about the emotional aspect. It's like when they get ticked off at me, my Taurian self just has to do this and like um just be like done. I'm not dealing with that anymore. So I love them probably the most, and I also have the most issues with them. I love Geminis. And
Oh, nice.
I don't know how much Gemini I have in my chart, but my
Your
son's
Mercury's there.
is it? My
Actually, I wanted to make a point. I'm sorry for interrupting, but
no, tell me.
I did see you had your Mercury and Gemini on Pallas Athena, and Pallas Athena is all of the goddess of wisdom and strategy and just noticing patterns and things very quickly.
Hmm.
So that's dope to have a Taurus sun, which is grounded, but then your mind is very intelligent and moves very quickly.
It does move really fast. Like and maybe that's why I love Geminis. I love watching their dual sides. Like my son's a Gemini and my ex is a Gemini, and I love watching how they can switch like from one to the other like in an instant and how quickly they can let things go. Like I learn so much from them because of their visionary skills too, because it seems like they are seers and communicators, so I can rely on what they are telling me
Mm,
as visionaries. I feel like they're visionaries. And I love Aquarians because they
nice.
are so out here that I feel like they can feed my wisdom. I feel like if I pay really close attention to what they're saying, I'm going to learn so much.
Yeah.
Like I like for the challenging ones, I like Scorpios, but I don't like the secretive side of Scorpios.
Mm,
I
yeah.
just I feel like it's like digging open a clam that's like you need pliers or something like to pop it open sometimes. So it's like a lot of work to see who they really are or to actually have a heart to heart soul connection.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge for me. I love the sensual sexual side of a Scorpio though.
Uh, yeah, we
Um
all do.
right? And I also have a lot of challenge with Pisces
Okay.
because I feel like they're even though they're so like tapped in and tuned in, it's like they're also so hard on themselves. So it's like they have to try harder somehow to be something or to make themselves look like something. So sometimes it's um I feel like I'm having to read through a veil instead of them just being able to be themselves and
Mm,
letting their spectacular self shine.
it's
You know,
interesting.
because they are intuitive and they do know a lot, but they're so emotional that they can have the tendency to just in the ones that I know anyway. It's like they want to impress me rather than me just being able to be impressed by them being themselves.
Yeah, sometimes Pisces could take on the energy of that they're around and kind of because they know there it's like how Gemini knows what to say, Pisces
Yeah.
knows how to be to kind of
Yeah.
connect with you. So I do agree on that. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's my I love all the signs though. I'm very
Yeah.
observant. Like I love to observe, and just see what's going on and it's almost like I giggle a lot because it's so cute to watch.
Everyone has their own quirks and everything.
Yeah.
It's still
All our little human behavior that's all um designed to be appropriate, you know,
mm,
instead of being able just to own who we really are. I
yeah.
think all the signs could work on that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, a lot. Well, this is a really awesome talk. Thank you again for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
We loved you in the live chat too. There's a lot of positive, amazing comments. So I definitely will invite you back on the channel for future talks. And how can people contact you if you have any services as well?
I've got a webpage. It's abbymoneyhun.com. That's really my last name. It's not like some rainbow fairy name.
That's your
Money.
real last name?
Yeah,
Oh, word. Okay.
it's ABBY money HUN.com.
Okay.
abbymoneyhun.com, and over there I do things like intuitive readings or I only set aside 10 sessions a month because I'm so busy, but I do galactic code readings and numerology. And I also do business coaching over there too. I don't take those on as much anymore. I charge a lot for those. Um, and then the podcast, the links that are below, I have a live show. It's every Wednesday. And that's the one where people can call in. It's at inflowradio.com. You put the link for that down. Maybe not the
Mhm.
link to the inflow, huh? I don't know.
The info, I don't believe so. I have the
Yeah, it's
podcast though for your
the
Apple and Google Play.
I'm on everywhere that you listen to a podcast. So if all you have to do is like download whatever podcast format you use, and then it's called the Abby Moneyhun Show. Does
Sweet.
does that is that like appropriate for my sign just to not have creativity in a name? I didn't know what to name the show.
No, that's totally fine. I think it's very Taurian to have money in your name. So that's just awesome.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like the Abby Moneyhun Show, and it's just like we discuss all things human. So if anybody has any ideas for topics or whatever, I'm kind of old school and I do more on Facebook than I do on YouTube. I have a
Cool.
YouTube channel, but I think I have 123 subscribers or something there. I just
Oh,
don't
what is it?
post anything on it.
I'll put it in the description so people can subscribe.
Yeah, I need to start putting stuff over there. But where I'm going to have the majority of my stuff, I think, is going to be on that High Vibe TV app.
Nice.
So, and I don't know if we put the link there, but we're it's going to be it's on Amazon, Google Play, Apple TV. We wanted to hit all of the venues. You know, when people make an app, do you want me to tell you a secret
Yes.
about apps? When
I'm
they
all
make
ears.
when they make an app, they go after the people that have iPhones first. And they put it
Yeah.
on iTunes, and they do that because they think that those people are going to have a little bit more money, and so they'll automatically buy the app. And so a lot of apps don't really provide content for the people that really are the ones that actually are needing it and searching
On
for it.
Android, right?
Yeah, well, like Android and I don't know, like the little phones that you can buy
True.
downtown or. So what
Yeah.
we wanted to do is get it on things that people actually use. Like is it Firefox? I'm so terrible with that stuff. David's handling all that. But it's on
Mhm.
Google Play. That it's on anybody that has an Amazon account can get it. Um,
Nice.
and if you have an Apple TV in your house, you should be able just to go to the Apple TV and load it there. It's under lifestyle apps. And
Awesome.
we don't have a lot of content loaded on there yet because it's brand new. We just barely got the framework up for it. So
Cool.
but we'll have conversations like this on there. Things that are
Real.
up. Yeah. So if anybody has any suggestions of things that have helped them, like if it's somebody that you love that you feel is a really genuine person, like drop their name in the link here so we can go check them out.
Nice. And yeah, I have all the links down below. I just updated it. So the YouTube link is there, the High Vibe link is there. I have the
Oh,
Google and
that's awesome.
Apple Podcast link and your website. So make sure you guys check her out. I think it's amazing how receptive we all were to you. And do you have any final words of advice for anyone walking this spiritual path?
I would say go look in the mirror. Just go look in the mirror and smile because you're here. And that's an accomplishment.
Nice.
Just the fact that you are here on this planet is a huge accomplishment. And honor yourself and be kind to you. Don't be a bully in your own head.
Mhm.
Like, don't ever speak to yourself worse than you would allow somebody else to. And enjoy some moments. Like, plan something fun.
Okay.
That would
That's
be
beautiful.
my best advice.
Yeah, I could definitely use more fun planning myself. That'll be
Yes.
really cool. So
Go
thank
easy. Go easy on you. You're the best friend you've got.
true that. True that indeed. So thank
I
you
love I
for
love you so much. Thank you for having me on. It's
likewise. Likewise, I'm really grateful. Your energy, everything about your energy is very like soothing and you're very grounding and amazing. So very grateful. And yeah, stay tuned, everybody, for the next time we go live. And y'all stay blessed. Peace out.
Mhm.